Okay, we are officially live with Marco Champion here. So you are a serial entrepreneur. You have multiple brands. You have, Motiv and iLegendz. So before even talking about those brands, what's kind of your origin story? I know you kind of like skating. And then when I look at Motiv, when I look at your front page, you sell merch, but also skateboarding decks, right? That has to do with what you loved from the beginning, which was skateboarding. So tell us about that.
So funny thing about Motiv, I actually had to put a pause to the company a couple of years ago. iLegendz, because iLegendz blew up. It was a marketing company. Now it's an influencer agency. And that grew so fast that I had to put a pause on Motiv, because Motiv is a clothing industry type of brand. It was doing all right. I was making a couple $1,000s a month, nothing crazy. Now that I've scaled my business and I've systemized it to the point where I can step out a little bit, I'm going back into Motiv. I actually have some collections in the work right now, and I'm going to be launching January of 2021. So Motiv is on pause still to this day. Full focus is on iLegendz, but there's some stuff in the background at work with Motiv. Okay,
so how did Motiv come about first? Was that your very, very first business, or did you have multiple businesses before?
It was. Just to give you like kind of like the origin story, like you asked. I love skateboarding. That's my passion, and that's where I got the most energy from. And growing up, I wanted to be a pro skater. Like that's just what I wanted to do. And I never thought about being an entrepreneur. I mean, I kind of naturally had that. I would buy and sell things like here and there, but never thought of myself as an entrepreneur as a kid, because that term didn't just go around. And so I love skateboarding. And at 15 years old, I was skateboarding down a hill, and that's when I got, I fell into the street and got ran over by a car. And it was the most craziest like transition in my life. I broke my spine, I shattered my pelvis, I damaged nerves leading to my legs. The doctor said I was lucky just to be alive, but I would never walk again. And I was going to be stuck in a wheelchair for the rest of my life. And so I didn't want to believe that. I was so in love with skateboarding. I think the passion for skateboarding is what really got me to heal my body. Eventually I came back up and I had a couple surgeries, and they said it was a miracle. And after that's when I really started asking the question, like, okay, well, why did that happen? Like, why was I so able to create, a miracle in my life? And I realized it was because of my motive. It was my why. It was my drive, my purpose. And my purpose was attached to my passion. And so after that, I was like 15, 16, I recovered around 16 years old. I got really depressed. I got sad because obviously I can't be a pro skater anymore. Yeah, I can get back on my skateboard. I can skate. I can't jump down 20 stairs and hit metal and like throw my body around. I have metal in my body to this day. So I had to be really careful on that. So that's what got me sad. But through being sad and depressed and hitting rock bottom emotionally, being in high school, that, kind of plays into the role of a fucking 16-year-old kid, right? That's where I found like the best practice in my life, which was meditation. And I found meditation just because it felt so good. It felt like great to meditate, and I was feeling sad. So I would meditate to feel good. And after meditating for 3 months, like 6 hours straight, I was like 17, 18 at the time. That's when like I got smacked with my purpose, smacked with my why I'm supposed to be here. Like, what am I supposed to do? And it was all about helping other people stay motivated, helping other people do the same thing that I did with my miracle, but with what they have to do in their life, right? Helping them drive their results that they're looking for. And so that's why I started Motiv. I started that brand because I wanted to inspire people that, hey, you can do anything you set your mind to, as long as you stay motivated until it happens, it'll happen. And that's the whole mission behind that brand.
Do you think, things happen for a reason? Because, maybe you could have been a skateboarder, but because of this instance, a near-death experience, let's call it that, you got back up to your feet. It was a miracle that you're able to walk again. And you can use that experience to help motivate people, through your brand. So do you think things happen like for a reason?
Absolutely, dude. Everything happens for a reason. So, through meditation, I got very aligned with like my higher power and, connected with, I would say like a knowledge, right? We read, we all, like people who read books, like they gather knowledge, but when you meditate, you get knowledge from like the universe, like universal knowledge. And like this alignment, I was like, yeah, everything happens for a reason. There's a reason why I'm doing this. Like my accident, a couple years after it happened, it was the worst thing that happened. Now it's the best thing that's happened, right? Because I understand that everything happens for a reason. So yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I don't meditate at all, but there's instances where I do daydream for maybe 5-10 minutes. And it gets like, there's a deeper thinking because we're all busy with our lives. Either there's the news or, you have a partner, work, whatever it is. You're always so busy. And sometimes you don't have time to really step back and think about everything that you're doing at a deeper level. And I think that's what meditation is, where you just take a step back of life and reflect on everything. And when you reflect on everything, you can kind of take notes and like take mental notes and understand what your true motive is, what your meaning is, and whatnot. And I sometimes forget that we should do that every once in a while. Stop being so busy. Just take a minute, at least 1 minute, to pause and just reflect on your day at least. And I think that's very powerful.
Yeah, so I would say like daydreaming, like that's like your head's in the clouds. I actually have a collection called Head in the Clouds, and it's pretty cool. I'll send you one once it's out. It's the third one that's going to come out. But it's a little bit different than meditation. Daydreaming and keeping your head in the clouds, like I'm all for it. People say don't do that. Think big, dream big. Like, your thoughts create reality. You can think as big as you want.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to meditation, it's about letting go of everything. Letting go of your life, letting go of all the things you need to do, letting go of all the thinking, right? And just being aware of your present moment. And by doing this, you actually get to hear. I don't know if you're a spiritual person or if you believe in God, but the way I look at it is like when people pray, they are speaking to God, or speaking to a higher power, or speaking to the universe, whatever you want to call it. When you meditate, you're listening to God. You're listening to a higher power, because like I like to start a meditation with a question. I want something figured out, like, oh man, how do I overcome this specific business challenge? I say that and then I let it go. Like when I meditate, I don't just keep thinking about it. I try to let it go. The whole point of meditation is like not thinking, in a way. Yeah, thoughts come, but just like how you go to the gym. When you go to the gym, you curl a bicep. When you meditate, when thoughts come and then you push it away, that's like curling the bicep of your mind. And when you do that over and over again, you leave space for the universe and for God to give you the information that you need to make the best decision moving forward. And so that's the way I see meditation.
So what's your routine like? Is it every day for 6 hours or?
No, that's how it was for like the first. That's crazy. I don't do that at all. I wish I could do that now, because when I did that, I was like full monk mode. I was like super, like everyone said I was super wise. I'm still like, I feel like I'm still wise to this day, but like I was super, super wise. I only do like, 10 to 30 minutes a day. And you can listen to guided meditations on YouTube. Like I listen to the honest guys. I still listen to this day, even though I've been meditating for years. I still listen to guided meditations because it helps you kind of get into the trance. Like they speak to you, you sit there, you listen, and you get into the trance, and you actually kind of feel high. When you do it correctly, you get a high from it. And high was the reason why I kept doing it over and over again, because it felt so good.
Yeah. So when you started Motiv, of course you had your entrepreneurial experiences of selling things, but when it comes down to creating a brand, that's a different story now. So how did that evolve?
Yeah, dude, I was locked in my room for like half a year, just learning YouTube, Google, just studying everything, studying the people who've done it right, brands like Supreme. And then I would just look up how to start a clothing brand, right? How to create clothing tags, how to manufacture X, Y, and Z. Like I just kept asking questions on YouTube and Google and just learn, implement. Fucked up a lot, but kept going because I was so motivated, because I knew it was just failure is just a stepping stone to success. So that's kind of how I started off. It's just, I pushed everybody away. I just locked myself in a room and just went super hard in one area to build a brand.
Mm-hmm. And tell us that moment where, a lot of entrepreneurs, or aspiring entrepreneurs, they have so many ideas and sometimes they don't know what to do, or they're stuck because there's so many ideas. And, once you do everything, in reality, you're doing nothing, right? Now, in your case, you said that you started Motiv, you took a hiatus, you stopped, and to work on iLegendz. Now, was iLegendz an opportunity that someone brought upon you, or was there another calling? What was it exactly that made you?
It was an opportunity. I mean, I had Motiv for 2 years and it wasn't paying bills, but I was so happy doing it, like fulfilled doing it. And, I was selling stuff, connecting with people. I knew that social media was the way to get my brand out there. Mm-hmm. So I started really studying social media. And as I started doing that, obviously the law of attraction, you started attracting people who were all about social media. I found this one guy who became my mentor, but he owned a record label and he helped artists blow up on social media. People like Little Skies, Little Pump, people like that. And so I actually paid him. He had like a couple 100,000 followers at the time. I had nothing. I had like a couple hundred followers. My brand Motiv had like 10,000. I was really grinding it out, posting every day on that. But he got me to realize my personal brand. I saw him. It was a person. He had a huge following. When I talked to him, I was like, oh my God, this guy's like famous, right? This guy's a celebrity. So I talked to him. He told me I want to help you build Motiv. Let me grow your Instagram account. So he started growing it. It was a couple $100 I paid him. Then I got really close to him. I became friends with him because, you know, he's a successful dude. And I wanted to be like, hey, I want to make money. Like, I want to learn how to make more money, right? I want to learn how to secure the bag. And that was his motto, like, secure the bag. So, so I actually was doing Forex at the time. I was doing other things to try to make money. So the foreign exchange was one of them. And I got my mentor, who was named Mike at the time, to invest $6,000 with me. I'm like, dude, this is blowing up. I'm growing my income. And literally all my money was in it. Like, I had a couple $1,000s. It was growing to 4,000, 5,000. I'm like, oh, it's blowing up. And I got him to invest it. And as soon as he invested, the market went the opposite way. It started going down. I lost all of his money, lost all of my money. I'm zero broke, living at home now. And he lost 6,000. Now, he doesn't know where I live. He's in LA. I'm in San Diego. We've met up a couple of times. So I could have just like blocked him and let it go. But the type of character I am, I was like, I need to pay this guy back some way, somehow. So I went to the bank and I got a $10,000 loan. I don't know how I got approved for this $10,000 loan. I really don't. I'm like 20. And so I got approved for it. I paid him back. And since I paid him back, that's when I really became his mentee, because he took me under his wing. He's like, hey, I like that you paid me back. That shows good character. I'm going to show you how to do this. And he was generating 6 figures through Instagram. And I was like, dude, like, this is crazy. You're not even doing any marketing. You're just doing DMs, making 6 figures, getting on phone calls. I want to learn. And so it's funny. The first time I learned from him, I actually went to his house and we're in the car, and he's in the music industry. So you know how the music industry, you know, people do drugs, stuff like that. So we're in the car and he's like, here, call these people. I started calling people and trying to sell specific artist development services for artists. And the time I'm doing that, he's rolling a blunt. Like, I'm starting to smoke. Okay, cool. And then all of a sudden he's like, here, smoke this. And I'm just like, dude, I'm like making sales calls. This is my first time ever making calls. I feel like I'm working. And so like I act like I smoked it and I'm making the calls and I was just learning. And so that was like the first day.
It's like trading. No, what's that movie? Training Day with Denzel Washington. Have you watched that movie?
I haven't watched that. No.
But you know what I mean? It's the exact same thing. Where this guy is literally his first day, training day, and Denzel Washington is a crooked cop, and he's offering PCB to this guy.
Oh my god!
So I don't know if your mentor was testing you. I don't know.
No, he wasn't. He smoked.
Nah.
Okay. They all smoked. You know, so like I was in the studio with like little skies, and they were all smoking. Like it was just part of the industry.
So he threw you in the deep end. You know? He threw you in the deep end.
What do you mean?
Like he legit just gave you a phone and told you to make these calls?
Yeah, so he had DMs in his Instagram. He's like, here, these are the calls I don't care about. People that want to, I don't care about them. You can fuck up. It's all good. Get on the call. Let me see what you got. So I went on them and like, I did pretty well. I didn't sell anything, but I did pretty well in conversing. And from there, he started teaching me how to like sell on the phone. Now that's, you know, fast forward to today, like, you know, that happened. I was in the music industry. It's super, super cutthroat. Honestly, the music industry is savage. So many different things I don't want to get into, but what ended up happening was I was getting paid on commission from him for sales. I started making some sales like 6 months later, like 6 to 12 months later. Honestly, it took a long time for me to like really get the habit of closing people over the phone and, you know, conducting business. He ended up, I started iLegendz on the side because I wanted to like, you know, create something that's for people like me, people who are passionate, people who are inspiring, who want to change the world, because I want to change the world. And that's what I wanted with Motiv. And I wanted to create a marketing system just for them. And he didn't like that. And so he like pretty much blocked me, and he didn't pay me my $3,000 of commission that he was supposed to pay me. And I was literally living month by month, and I was living with my girlfriend. We had to pay rent. And I remember it was like 3 to 4 weeks until rent. And I'm like, I don't have money. Like, what am I supposed to do? So I really hustled my ass off. I was like up to 4 a.m. every morning, waking up at like 9:30, and just grinding it out, building the website out, building the back ends, trying to find customers, clients through Instagram and social media, hitting the DMs. And it got to the point where it was like, damn, like, oh, rent's due in a week and I have no money. Like, I might have to get a job. And for an entrepreneur to say I might have to get a job, it was like the worst feeling in my life. I was so sad. I was like, man, like, I gotta get a job. Sorry for cussing.
Nah, it's cool. It's cool.
But like, I gotta get a fucking job. I was like, what the fuck? But literally the last week is when those DMs came back. I made some phone calls, $500, $500. I made $1,500, a little over. I was like $1,800, and my rent was like $1,200 at the time. And so I actually did it. Like in like 2 days before the rent was due, I was like, wow, I freaking did it. So ever since then, iLegendz has been growing into something where, you know, different actually. It started off as a marketing company, getting people followers, and it was cool, you know, $200 packages here and there. But it was just followers. It wasn't building a brand around it. It was just like, you know, basically follow for unfollow type of bot type of following. It It wasn't the best, but it was enough to make me enough money. Okay, let me innovate the company. So now, fast forward 2 years later, we're completely, we're a platform for entrepreneurs who want to change the world. We help them with their personal brand. Yes, marketing is a part of it. We grow their followers, but before that, we make sure their content's targeted towards an ideal audience that they could, make money from. They could impact and change the world from within that industry, right? So, content, marketing, management, social media management. Like I pretty much just gathered all the resources that I see fit in the industry, and I put it all into this platform where all of our members and all my members are millionaires. So all my clients are like multi-millionaires. They're all part of this platform where they get to be like, hey, I need this, I need that, I need that. And I'm like the middleman that goes, okay, let me get that for you. This over here is at the best price. I've used them before. So like I'm the guy that they go to, or I'm the company that they go to. I have a couple of people that do my position now. I'm the company that they go to in order to find the resources that they need to grow their brand on social media.
So let's talk about what you do exactly in terms of tactics. So do you get them PR, get them into podcasts, get them into, Forbes magazine, for example? Like, do you get into that type of stuff to grow their personal brand?
Everything. So I don't even do it. So what I realized was I could learn how to do all these services, but what's smarter is collaborate. There's already people who are doing, amazing in the PR space. There's people doing amazing in the marketing space, amazing in content creation. So I just found the best resources, collaborated with them, offer those to my clients, white label majority of it, and that's pretty much how I offer it.
No, yeah, it's definitely a good idea because, everyone wants to build a personal brand. And, once you have a personal brand, you build leverage, you build credibility. And I think through that, you get more opportunities.
Yep. No, 100%. And that's the reason why, the first thing I learned when I got with my mentor, I'm like, he doesn't have, his business is thriving, but he's making all the money through his personal brand on his account, on his personal brand side. So I'm just like, personal brand's more. So before that, I was actually focused on Motiv, like the Instagram. It was growing, had a great community, but the money wasn't being generated as much. So I shifted from focusing on that to focusing on my personal brand. And now I skyrocketed my income and pretty much hit my goals set to achieve.
So, for the average entrepreneur or the aspiring entrepreneur here, what tactics do you recommend that they should implement to grow their personal brand? People say you have to pay to play nowadays on Instagram, but are there other means, other tactics to grow it?
Yeah, of course. I mean, it is getting pay to play. Obviously the organic reach is being squeezed. It's just the way that the social media platforms do, right? I say don't be scared of putting out content. So many people are scared to put out content. Just put out content, whether you think it's going to work, you think it's not going to work. Post every single day, especially in the beginning. When you get into the stages of growing your personal brand, you can be a little bit more strategic. But in the beginning, just put out as much as possible. Quantity game. Gary Vee, right? Gary Vee preaches that a lot. Second thing is collaborate. That's the biggest way for you to grow. Get on IG lives. If you can do that every single day, you're winning, right? Because when you collaborate with somebody like how we're doing now on a podcast, you reach other people's audiences, and then it's their audience. So it's kind of a mutual benefite, right? Your audience, audience me. Honestly, the only reason why I hopped on this one because the name. I really like the name. I was like, it's pretty cool.
That's dope.
Wasn't I'm here to grab some of your audience. It's not because it's not that big, but I'm here. I like what the brand is about. I like what you've done so far, positioning it. I looked through the stuff. So, I'm here to help people who are doing it right. You're doing it right.
For sure, bro. I respect that. Yeah. And I mean, besides Instagram, of course, the organic reach is going down, but do you use other platforms, other means, other methods to help someone's personal brand besides IG?
Yeah. So we do all the platforms, honestly. The two major ones is Instagram and YouTube, and then Facebook, LinkedIn, and pretty much all the audio platforms. We do all of them. So I focus specifically on Instagram, and I'm trying to grow my YouTube audience now. I say focus on one platform, grow it, and then move it to all the rest of the platforms and start growing those platforms. Because when you spread yourself too thin in the beginning, it's different. Every platform is different, right? So the content on Instagram, it's not gonna do the same as the content on LinkedIn. So you can't just post on all the platforms the same content because it doesn't work like that, right? It's like trying to post your sports content on the news channel, or not the news channel, on a kids channel, right? It doesn't blend. So I would say in the beginning, just start with one, but yeah, we do all of them. We help people, with all platforms.
And is there any golden nuggets besides posting as much content as possible for your personal brand? Are there other, say hashtags? I mean, you said collaboration, but maybe hopping on IG live with someone. Is there anything else that comes to mind?
Well, I think collaboration is the most underrated one. I say it a lot, but I don't see anybody doing it as much. I say those IG lives, you're able to do at least once a week, once a day. You're growing your brand pretty fast. Other things that you can do, obviously hashtags, you got to use hashtags. If you're going to be posting on your story, a lot of people don't post hashtags in their story, but if you do, you get a little bit more reach. Locations, if you get people to click on your story, like, voting and stuff like that. The more you get, the more that you get your audience to interact with you, clicking on your story, tapping something, commenting, the algorithm will show that to more people.
Yeah.
That's just the way it works.
I just thought of a random idea for collaborating. Say you're an MC, an artist, music artist, and maybe you don't have a podcast, but you can literally DM another artist, go live with him on IG and just talk about music. And like you said, you kind of leverage each other's audiences to grow together. All right.
Exactly. Yep. 100%. And a podcast is an amazing collaboration vehicle. Amazing. Like majority of my clients have podcasts, and not just because they want to blow up their podcast, but because they want to grow their network. Right? When you do a podcast with somebody, you can connect. Like, no offense, but if you were to DM me and you didn't have a podcast and you didn't have not to do the secure the bag stuff, and it was your personal brand, and you wanted to get on a phone call with me, I'd be like, dude, it's like $400 an hour.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Podcast, since you have a podcast and there's a platform, it's a way for us to collaborate. So now we're talking, now we're chatting, and that's huge, right? Because you can do that with people who are much bigger than me. People who have millions of followers, people who are verified, right? So,
that makes sense.
Starting a podcast, collaborate.
Yeah, I think the beautiful thing about podcasts is that, when you say produce a lot of content, if you have a 1 hour, 2 hour podcast, you can make so many clips. You can write a blog on this, and it's just like what Gary Vee says, pillar content that you can just use for any platform.
I was gonna say pillar content is like podcast is a piece of pillar content, and from that you can cut a bunch of micros, a bunch of valuable micros. So what I do with my clients, I tell them, hey, focus on putting out 1 pillar a week minimum, and from that we can cut micros to fill up the rest of your feed. That's another free tactic to go about it. But after all that free stuff, you're gonna have to, like, if you really want to scale and grow, you're gonna have to pay to play.
Yeah. So of course, all these artists and entrepreneurs, they may be too busy to do this all themselves. So you manage everything, right? Down to the content creation itself?
Yeah, my teams do.
Okay. Yeah. So you have a team of content creators?
So a client has a team in iLegendz team. So what that is a content creator who films and edits the content, a project manager, someone who's posting on social media, hashtags, engaging with the community, cultivating it, doing the $1.80 strategy, the Gary Vee, $1.80, where you go and people in your niche through hashtags and through locations and stuff like that. And then they have an agent, someone like me. I'm not really a full-time agent anymore. I stepped out of that position. I have other agents in the business, but agents is someone who looks at the big picture. Like, what are your goals? What do you want to accomplish? How can I connect you with the right people? And that's the team. That's the iLegendz team that, helps our clients.
So you said that you were struggling to pay $1,200 worth of rent, but you said during the last week you made it, right? And you got money. Now, how long did it take you to see a snowball effect? Because in business, it's not always linear. It's, you can see exponential. There's an inflection point. Was that the case for you, where literally you found one client, went off very, very well, you got word of mouth, and then you got business, like mad business?
Yeah, in the beginning, it was more of a secure the bag mentality. In the beginning, it was like, all right, I got one client, DM, got another client, secure the bag, boom, DM, another call, oh, that's all good. All right, client, money, I'll just secure that. That's all it was, right? And that was my mentality, because my mentor before that that's what he taught me. He's like, bro, number one lesson you need to learn, secure the bag. You don't get off the phone, so you secure the bag. So I was kind of like put into this mentality, but I wanted to do it in a positive way. So, now it's all word of mouth, because when I secure a bag, I don't call that no more, right? I call it serving people. When I serve, when I get the opportunity to help others and serve, the way I help them with their project is done so well that they go and refer other people, because then they get paid commission off of that. So my whole business has grown kind of through word of mouth, right? Because then clients have retainers of $5,000 a month. A normal package coming onto us is like 10 grand. So when they refer people 10 grand, they get 10%, they get 1,000. So they refer 5 people a month, that pays for their monthly retainer of 5,000, just from referring friends and family that are aligned with what we do. Cause we're exclusive. We don't just work with anybody. We work with people that we feel that can build a legacy, people that are on a mission to do something bigger than themselves. Yeah.
So going back to your cold calls, I think you do need to develop some good sales skills. Now, what did you do exactly to get those sales? It's not easy. People say cold calling is dead, cold emailing is dead, but in your case, it worked for you.
Well, I wasn't cold calling, right? I wasn't just calling random numbers. I was actually building relationship in the DMs.
Okay.
Warm call, because we already talked, we chatted, and then I got a phone number and we got on and we knew each other. So I never even done any cold calls other than the first day when I went with my mentor. He gave me just phone numbers from his DMs. I had no idea who they were. So I personally don't like cold calls. I think for me to build my sales skill, I obviously like studied a lot. You know, in the morning, I kind of made it like a school. Like I would put like, okay, from 8 to 9, I would do like, I have a pretty strict morning routine where, you know, I focus on my mind, my body, my spirit first and foremost. And then after that, I was focusing on sales. So how to develop my sales skills, and Grant Cardone, Dan Locke, and all these sales mentors. And then just really implementing what I learned, like, you know, closing rhetoric, the right words. There's one book, Exactly What to Say, made me hundreds of thousands of dollars, like hundreds of thousands. It's one book, because like the exact words that were in this book, this audiobook, I used them and I would close deals like magic, dude. And it was literally says it would be like magic. I was like, wow, this is insane. So just a lot of learning, and then and it took a long time. Like it didn't just happen overnight. Like I was learning how to sell for about a year before I got like, you know, or not sell, because I obviously been selling for a while, but learning how to sell, like doing phone sales and actually securing like high ticket deals. About a year. It took about a year of me like practicing and doing it, failing, not getting the deal, getting on a lot of conversations. The more conversations I had, the more my skills increased. I would take notes all the time. Because if I just hop on the call, one thing I learned really early on, if I just hop on a call and don't take any notes, I don't learn from that call. Like whether I close it out, whether I secure the bag or I don't, like if there's no notes done, I didn't learn. It was a waste of time. But if I took a bunch of notes, I figured out, okay, this is what worked, this is what didn't. It gave me enough data to go on to the next call and be like, all right, I know more. So it gets to the point where now I get on a phone call for 15 minutes and make, you know, $10,000. So yeah, that's, you know, it's just practice.
Yeah, practicing and testing different things out. If you have a script and, for example, 20 of those calls don't work at all with that same script, you might have to change a few things there and, you know, do A/B testing maybe.
I don't like scripts. I don't like to be specific on it. I like structure. I like that fact that you have to control the conversation, right? The person asking the questions, you know that I have this thing. I wish I can have a whiteboard behind me so I can show you. I have this like champion structure to a sales call, where it starts with complimenting and relating, you know, get on the same vibration. Because if you can't get on the same vibration with somebody, there's not going to be no sale, right? You got to like vibe out, you know, find out things that you like that are the same, figure out what, you know, what that vibration is, right? So that's the first part. After that, you build rapport. And I kind of just check those boxes off. So there's no specific words. At first I did scripts, and I realized like, I looked at people, salespeople who would use scripts on me, and I would feel horrible. I'm like, dude, using a script, I don't feel well, right? Like there would people be right in front of me using a script. I'm like, this is horrible. I'm never gonna do this. So I use a structure where I'm just having a conversation with somebody, but I know where the call is going. And by the end of the call, after I build a report, so first one's compliment and relate. Second one's build a report. So asking questions to figure out what their current situation is and what their goals are. And if iLegendz or my business or whatever myself that I'm doing can be the vehicle to help them get to their goals. That's the second part. The third part is, let me start over. So compliment, relate, build a report. Once I build a report, I check off that box. Once I figure out like, okay, I know his goals, I know where he's at. Now it's time to sell who I am and what I do and how I can help him. So that goes into like, okay, this is what I do. This is my business. This is how we can help you. Does this sound interesting to you? Oh, he said, yes, perfect. I sold them, but I didn't close them, right? There's a little bit of difference between selling and closing, right? Selling someone is a lot easier. When I get you to like something, I get you to be interested in something, it's easy. I sold you on it. But to get you to give me money for it, that's called a close, a little bit different, right? So after you sell someone, then I figure out what their budget is, and then I figure out a closing rhetoric. Then I give him some words to actually get him to pay me money now, right? Urgency, get him to feel like I need to start now. And so that's pretty much what I go through. And now it's kind of a habit. I don't even write his stuff down. I just get on the call and just handle it. But in the beginning, I had to take obviously lots of notes and write down every check box to make sure I'm checking every box off.
Yeah. So you said, you know, first you hit them up, you said relate. And then second one is build rapport. Third one, try to sell them and then close it, right? Now, when you initially start, and this goes for any person who has an agency of some kind, right? Or a service, maybe they have a few clients here and there. Is it important to have, you know, testimonials somewhere? Because if you have someone and they don't have a point of reference, then they can see you as a scam, right?
Yeah, you didn't. Well, if they see it as a scam, you didn't check off the first box, which is compliment and relate. Because if you're relating to someone, you're vibing out with somebody, they're not going to feel like it's a scam. Second off, if like, man, it's a hard. So in the beginning, I feel like you don't have to have that. I mean, sure, I feel like you do. Like, I feel gather them as much as they come, but if you don't have it, it's okay. Because I remember selling people that ended up not even doing anything with like the service that they bought, or ended up, they would be like, hey, do you have, and they just ask the question, do you have testimonials? Do you have other people I could talk to? And I was just like, yeah, I could definitely connect you with other people. They're like, oh, okay, cool, let's get started. And they didn't even ask about it, right? It's just for their own satisfaction of, can I trust them, right? Can I trust this guy? If you can get someone to trust you, then it doesn't matter what testimonials you have. They trust you. They want to do business with you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that comes to show that we're using your personal brand as well, because I know you had iLegendz, but when you were DMing them, was it your brand or was it through iLegendz?
My personal brand.
Okay, yeah. I was going to say that people relate more, or they feel a lot more safe when they talk to another face rather than just the logo, right?
For sure. 1000%, dude.
So yeah, I mean, that's something that I struggled with, to be honest, because I right now, I don't have a personal brand. I'm just focused on building this brand right here, Get the Bag Life, right? Because some people struggle to build both their personal brand and then the brand of their business. They're two entirely different things. And, you know, if you do both of them, then you can't really allocate most of your time to one, obviously, right? But I do believe that if you are the face of the brand, it makes it that much easier to kind of get what you want, to make a sell or to communicate with someone.
Yeah. I mean, I think you do have a personal brand. You know, your personal brand is just another word for reputation. Everybody has reputation.
True.
So you don't have a personal brand means your personal brand isn't big enough for where you want it to be, right?
Mm-hmm.
I made the same mistake where I was focused on the business and not my personal brand, but I do this in life, right? I focus on myself first, focus on bettering my body, my mind, my spirit, then working my business. So I kind of think of it the same way as a personal brand, but a personal brand is focusing on yourself to help others instead of just focusing on yourself to help yourself, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, I think building your personal brand is super, super crucial because it's like growing your reputation. You have a big reputation, you can get your business out there a lot faster.
Mm-hmm. So say an entrepreneur has an e-commerce business or whatever business, and, you know, should they split it 50-50 building the content for their brand and then the other 50% for their personal brand? Is that fair to say?
So I would say, for their company, I would have so it depends on what kind of company, what kind of business it is. But I would create the social media like a landing page where people go to it and they get the message, they know what it is, they know how to buy. And then focus 100% of your attention on your personal brand so that you grow that traffic to drive that traffic to your business compared to just focus half and half and like it slowly going at the same time, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. So at what point were you know, happy with what you're doing with iLegendz and you went back to Motiv? You know, I'm not gonna say your passion project, but Motiv was what started everything.
Yeah, and it definitely is a passion project for sure because I'm super passionate about it. Right now, honestly, like this is the first month that I've actually put stuff in motion for Motiv again, where I have, you know, suppliers manufacturing in Arizona. I'm getting the new collection in. I'm gonna be doing a limited run, so every single month I'm gonna drop one t-shirt, and these t-shirts are bamboo. They're super comfy. They're super high quality. They're expensive, but I'm gonna drop one t-shirt every single month, and every t-shirt I drop is gonna be a collaboration with an influencer or someone that has a reputation, someone that has, you know, attention that can bring into the brand. So now going into it, I'm like super excited because I have a couple of years. It's been like 2.5 years since, you know, I was full-time Motiv. I have a little bit more experience, obviously. I have more connections, and I feel like I can blow it up a lot faster. So, yeah, there's, you know, Motiv's is starting right now.
Yeah. And, you know, I've seen your t-shirts. They've been, some collections are actually sold out. Now, how do you get your skateboarding decks? That's pretty dope that you have that.
Yeah. So I have bamboo skateboard decks too. Something about bamboo that I use is such a sustainable resource. And I love, like, I'm a skateboarder myself. So I love skating these bamboo boards. I get them from here in California and San Diego. I get them made and yeah, it's bamboo is just a great resource. Like, you know, clothing is the second largest pollution industry in the world, and that's because of cotton. And bamboo can actually fix that. Bamboo is a very viable resource that could, you know, solve the pollution problems that our clothing industry is having. Also, skateboard industry is, you know, one of the largest wood industries above flooring. Flooring is the second largest. Skateboarding is the first largest wood industry in America. And so bamboo can also help with that because, you know, taking out these trees, we're taking out, you know, obviously a lot of carbon and oxygen offsets. And so So yeah, so there's definitely, you know, it's more of a expensive product because of bamboo. It's higher
Mm-hmm.
quality. It feels good, but it also does better for the environment. So I think it's a win-win-win.
For sure. And, you know, because you have experience, you know, you went to iLegendz, worked with influencers, and you went back to Motiv, you know, do you think, I mean, I don't know how you, I know you said you release one collection every month, right? Or one t-shirt every month.
Yeah,
So do you just focus on influencer marketing instead of Facebook ads?
yeah, 100%.
So all influencer marketing?
Yeah.
Is it fair to say that for any clothing brand or maybe even e-commerce that the most important or one of the most important pillars of selling something is influencer marketing? You can't just do Facebook ads. You got to do influencer marketing as well to some degree.
Well, I think Facebook ads work, right? But the thing is, you can't just run Facebook ads off the bat because if you don't find something that works without it, then you're not going to be able to amplify it. I feel like Facebook ads is a thing that can amplify what you're doing.
Yeah.
So like if people are not buying your shirt now, then you put a bunch of ad money on that. That's not going to do anything. People are still not going to buy your shirt. But if people buy your shirt now, right, with in the influencer that shouts it out, maybe 100 people see it, 1,000 people see it, and you're getting like, let's say 1,000 people see, you know, your post, and you get 10 people to buy it, right? There's a certain percentage of that. Now, if you run ads, you can scale that. So I think you have that before you get into ads. I definitely am going to run ads eventually for Motiv, but it's going to start off strictly on personal attention.
Mm-hmm. So you said most of your time is allocated to Motiv instead of iLegendz?
No, as of right now, it's iLegendz. I'm full-time iLegendz, right? I've created systems and put people in place so that I can step out. And so I am currently like 33% stepped out of the company. So I still work on it a lot, right? It's the number one source of income. It's making me, you know, multiple six figures. But I'm starting to put some more focus on Motiv. Eventually, I want to the point where it's 100% automated. It's not 100% automated now. It's, you know, 77% automated, 75% automated. So we're getting there. We're getting pretty close to 100% automation step completely out. It run by itself, build Motiv 100% of my time, or, you know, 80% of my time, whatever. That's my goal.
Yeah, for sure, bro. And I think what you're doing is right because, like I've said before in the beginning, that if you have multiple businesses or you start them at the same time, it can be challenging. But because you have one that's established and that's one that's 75% kind of automated, you can definitely, you know, just transition or work on your other projects as well, right? Now, what do you do? Because I feel, you know, time is of the essence for any entrepreneur. How did you learn, or what did you do to save some time and automate things?
So there's like and I kind of came up with, you know, law of action in a way where in the beginning, when you take action towards a business to build a business, you got to take fearless action. You got to just go all in, do as much as possible. But once you do that enough, right, you get to a point where, okay, I know what works, I know what doesn't. Then you can get to a little bit more strategic action, right? How can I do more with less of my time? Maybe I can put some people in place. Maybe I can, you know, put a system. I love using AI. I love using automation. You know, I love using people too, but obviously people have emotional and, like, you know, a bunch of things that we have to make sure that we are constantly focusing on. A system is just a system. If that shit runs, the automation happens, it's like, it's gold, right? I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to touch it. I don't have to feed it. I don't have to worry, you know, it just, I pay it and that's what it is. So yeah, I mean, that's when you get to strategic action, right? When you start taking a little bit more strategy, you spend less time, you make a little bit more money. And then the last part, the third step in this law of action is exponential action. So now you take a piece of action. This is where you're like a CEO, right? You decide this is where the company's going to go, and then everybody else makes it happen. You put the right systems, the right ideas into place, and that one small action you did, it creates a lot of results. And so you kind of have to go through this level, right? You have to start off with fearless action, move into strategic action, and then go into exponential action.
By fearless action, the first thing that comes to mind is hiring and firing people, right? Almost immediately if they're not producing results. But you said you use tools. So now what sort of tools do you use exactly? Maybe you don't want to give it out, but what are some tools that you can probably share for us that help entrepreneurs systemize or automate their businesses?
Yeah. So in fearless action, there's no systemization, there's no automation, there's no hiring people, right? That's you doing everything yourself, figuring out what works. Because you don't want to hire someone and not know how to do something yourself and trying to teach them how to not, like, just do something that you're first doing. So in fearless action, you got to do it all yourself. You got all the failures, because there's gonna be a lot of them, a lot of mistakes. You got to just start eating that, right? Like, eat that dirt. Like Gary Vee says, start eating dirt. Once you realize, okay, this is this specific way I do business, the specific way that I do this thing, I can now teach to someone. That goes into strategic action. Now I'm gonna go hire someone in strategic action, right? That's when I start thinking about systems and automation. And there's a lot of tools for it, right? Like there's Basecamp that we use that has the teams in there, and it pretty much, you know, the clients, the teams, everything's organized. They know the to-dos, what to do from one step to the 15th step to the 100th step. And it's all right there, pretty much automated. That's just one tool that costs like $100 a month.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, it just depends on what part of the business.
Yeah. I always think that as an entrepreneur, as you start to sky yourself, you know, get a team, you have to know almost every aspect of the business, because if that person leaves, you know, you can still cover that position for, you know, a couple of weeks or so until you hire someone else. It's always more to know everything behind your business. Now,
Yeah, and like another thing too, a lot of people like get stuck on is, you know, you might be doing it better than the person you hire, but that doesn't mean you should be doing it, right? You need to focus. If you're a CEO of a company, if you're a founder, you need to focus on CEO work, right? The things that are going to integrate the business, the things that are going to bring more money in, the things that are going to like bring more value to the consumer. When you're stuck kind of in the nixing panties and doing the small things, even though you do it better than others, you're stuck there, right? You're not really progressing forward. So yeah, I just wanted to.
No, yeah, for sure. I mean, you can do everything yourself, but then, you know, if you do everything yourself, those big decisions, you know, I think there's a quote saying that you can't really work in the business. You need to work on the business. If you work in the business, you can do all the content creation, setting up the website. But if you're not making those big executive moves to move your company forward, if you don't have time for that, then it's going to be a slow game for you. But I think everyone, you know, it takes time to get to that stage. You get cash flow, you reinvest in your business. And that's how it works out. It's little, surely but surely, you'll get it.
That's an exponential action, right? Is when you are in full CEO mode. Because when I first started iLegendz, I was like, yeah, we can create you a website. Yeah, we can run your social media. Oh, we have a whole graphic design team. We got you. Put the phone down. I'm like, all right, I got to learn graphic design. I got to learn how to build websites. I did it for my Motiv brand, so I'm going to go do it. I literally did every single job in the beginning, right? But that's what you got to do. That's the fearless action. And then eventually you get to the point where you can be full CEO mode, because that's the goal.
Mm-hmm.
That's not the goal. You're going to be stuck, you know, creating a job.
So with all your years of experience in entrepreneurship, what are, you know, just reflecting back, what are some things that, you know, that will really help any new entrepreneur out? For it can be as simple as, you know, really just dedicating 12 hours a day. I think in your page, in your about page for Motiv, you said something along the lines that once you find a passion for something and you work 15 hours, those 15 hours doesn't feel like work because it's your passion, right? So I guess one thing to say is that, you know, find something that you love and, you know, it won't feel like work. Do you have any other tips and gems like that?
Just to go on that, man, like find something that pulls you, right? You don't have to push yourself to work 12 hours a day. Like that's completely fine. But if you can find something that pulls you to work 12 hours a day, like I don't think Muhammad Ali was pushed to be the best boxer. I think he was pulled towards the craft to be the best, right? Like I think if you look at the champions and you look at the legends in our, you know, in our lifetime, and Elon Musk and stuff like that, I don't think Elon Musk goes, I need to work 18 hours a day, right? However much hours he works crazy. I don't need to work 18 hours a day. Like he's pulled to work that. Why? Because he wants to get us on the on Mars. He's got goals and things that are big enough that are pulling him to do it. I think that's super crucial. When you find that, then again, those 15 hours don't feel like work. It just feels like life. It feels like you love what you do and you'll do it whether the results are there or the results come in a couple months or a couple weeks or whatever it may be.
Yeah, because, you know, if you work on something that you don't like as an entrepreneur, you're kind of creating your own 9 to 5, your own jail cell. So, you know, you got to work on something that you genuinely love. You know, if not, work on something that's working. You know, people, you know, entrepreneurs are, you know, they're very, very like, smart and they know how to make money, but maybe they don't like that project. So they create, you know, a cash flow in that respect and then create a side hustle where they truly love. You know, in your case, you know, you have your passion project Motiv, and that can really drive you forward, and the other one's paying the bills and whatnot, plus some. All right.
So yeah, iLegendz is paying the bills plus some for sure. And there's definitely passion within it because I'm helping people that are like me who are trying to change the world. And so like in Motiv and iLegendz, there's still like a very similar mission to inspire others to be their best. And I think with iLegendz, the thing is that, you know, I'm already working with successful people. Like they're already successful. I'm not there to inspire them more. I'm just there to arm them to take on the world, right? To spread their message. Motiv is more of like my arms to the world, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely paying the bills, and I definitely have passion within it. But Motiv is like where my main purpose lies.
Mm-hmm. So you as an entrepreneur, what is your ultimate ambition here for both iLegendz and Motiv, and maybe yourself too?
Man, I'm a serial entrepreneur, so I know I'm gonna have multiple companies. I have like a couple of different business plans already written out for the future. I have the next 10 years. I know it's not gonna go exactly as planned, but the next 10 years, pretty much, and the businesses that I want to start. And I love innovation. I just love finding things that I'm just like, this can be so much better, or this is like the tech that we have in this day and age can make it better. So it's not going to just be Motiv and iLegendz. Motiv is that one business though, is that one business I will die doing. Like I'll be the CEO. Like I'm not going to, iLegendz, I'll hire a CEO, you know, I'm still going to keep a portion of the company, right? But like I'm going to hire everybody to do it. So it's just an automation, just a fuel of income. Motiv is that one company that I'm going to die doing because I'm so happy doing it, right? It's, I'm still doing it. So yeah, my goals for Motiv is to like beat Nike on the biggest brand in the world, and not spread a message of just doing it, because I love Nike and I love what they've done. And, you know, just do it is motivating, right? But I think getting people to think. I think getting like for Motiv, it's like, what's your motive? Like, what's your why? What drives you? Like what's pushing you to be the best you can be? Like that gets you to think, and for a brand, it gets you to think, and it's sustainable and kind of relates to what, you know, this 2020, you know, era is kind of focused on. I think it's the next big brand like Nike that's going to emerge. So that's my goal. Right? My goal is to surpass.
Yeah. And I think to get that big, of course, you have to think in those long terms, you know, 5, 10, 15 years, you know, those huge brands that you got to be there for a while. And, you know, if you have something that you feel so passionate about, you know, it can definitely happen, you know.
I mean, it could happen in 2 years if you have
for sure
the world, right? If
for
you have
sure
influential people in the world, you know, well, one thing that I've noticed a lot being in the game of influence is like the people have the power, right? Was back in the music industry, like in 1990s or 1980s, whatever it may be, you couldn't walk into a boardroom without a shirt all tatted up. Most people were walking there smoking a joint, tatted up, because the companies know he has the power, right? Without him, the money won't come in. Without the personal brand, without the person, no one cares about our company, right? So I realized that in sports, I mean, it's everywhere. It's not just music industry, not just, you know, clothing, whatever. Sports, like NBA, people are watching LeBron James play basketball, right? If LeBron James and all the best NBA players started their own league, NBA will be gone. People will be focused on where the best players are, right? Because it's their personal brand.
Yeah.
So that's one thing I noticed. That's huge. So I had like, that's my goal right now, or that's my I guess it's my business plan for Motiv, is to have all these influencers backing it up for the right reasons. You know, it can blow up in a couple of years.
Yeah.
It took 10, 15 years before. And when you said that, I think it's great thinking long term, but one quote that came to mind is like, hey, you know, if you give yourself 10 years to do something, it'll take you 10 years. But if you give yourself 2 years to do something, shit, it might take 2 years, right? Like if you want to make, like if you're going to clean your room, if you give yourself a month to clean the room, you'll clean it day 29. But if you give yourself an hour to clean the room, you'll clean your room in the next hour, right? So like, yeah. So I think, I recently have hit my goals for the first time ever in my life, my financial goals and all these goals. Typically I set them so high that I don't hit them, and that's motivating. Where I set them high, hit 70. Like if you set a goal to make $1 million, like if you really want to make 6 figures, if you really want to make $100,000, and you're like, all right, I just want to make 100,000. You might make 50. You might make 75. But if you go, I really want to make $1 million. You focus on that $1 million. You focus on that 7. You might make $200,000, right? It's like more than what you originally wanted because you thought bigger, but you didn't hit your goal. But it's okay, right? Because you went further than what you did before. So, so yeah, just wanted to share that.
No, yeah, and in that respect, you know, setting impossible deadlines. You know, if you look at these huge companies, SpaceX and Tesla, you know, they set almost impossible deadlines, and that gets everyone to work hard. And, you know, 90% of the time they don't meet those deadlines, but they're kind of close to it, right? And they do so much in that span of time. That's, you know, as an outsider looking in, it's almost impossible that they still did it, right? But it just creates, yeah, what you said, if you think long-term is good, but you need to have that, you know, that hustle, that drive to really get things done immediately. Give yourself those deadlines.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So Marco, I don't want to take too much of your time here. So if people want to find you, hit you up, you know, learn more about iLegendz, you know, grow their personal brand, you know, where can they find you?
Instagram is the best place to find me, Marco the Champion. Pretty much the same tag on all, you know, same handle on all social media platforms, Marco the Champion.
Dope. And what was that book that you mentioned that you said that you read that book and your sales just went off the roof?
I actually listened to it. It's an audiobook. It's an hour long. I think I've listened to it like 70, 100